Welcome to episode 2 of Navigating the Transformation of the Quality Measurement Landscape. In this episode, we're going to set a foundation on key terminology for the digital era. In this episode, I'm joined by Michael Klotz to set the stage on a few key terms that are most relevant for this series. We could overwhelm the screen with a big word cloud of acronyms and abbreviations. And in fact, we are building a terminology page on kaisersolutions.com for that. But today, Michael's going to start things out. So Michael, how can we approach this important, easily overwhelming, and let's just be frank and honest, quite boring topic from a high level?
First off, I want to share that I personally keep on top of these things by using a handful of high-level concepts and operating models. And we'll cover some of those in future sessions in more detail. I think it's useful up front, though, to establish just a few terms for context, and we'll do that in a second. At the highest level, we should keep in mind that the digital quality world increasingly merges two key concepts. The first one's interoperability, so everything that has to do with how clinical data is accessed and how it flows as input for the digital quality measures. The second is the digital quality measures, or DQMs, themselves. So things specifically that have to do with the measurement, i.e. rules, and reporting.
Okay, so of course, we've discussed interoperability, we've discussed quality measures, although not digital quality measures specifically in the past. Are you suggesting that the two are now merging?
Yes, and that's exactly how I think it'll be much easier to discuss important concepts going forward. But for today, let's just one last time keep them separate so we can establish a sense of where the different terms originated. When we look at interoperability, we have terminology like FHIR and CCD and CCDA, and APIs and endpoints and others you see on the screen, and many more that aren't on the screen. What I think is important for people to know is how to categorize those terms, more so than actually understanding all the details about them. In this case, the first three have to do with what the data looks like, how it's structured. APIs and endpoints are about how the data is exposed and accessed. Provenance and the other terms in that box that you see now are important concepts that make data meaningful and reliable. And data aggregators is also an important concept we'll discuss as well in a future session when we go into detail about NTQML's DAV program. Now, same thing with digital quality measures. Now, that term in itself is fairly new, and it's just a term that covers the collection of digital measures, standards, and a number of related components as a whole. Within that, ECDS and the FHIR part of FHIR CQL are about data definitions for digital measures. CQL, and again, the CQL in FHIR CQL, is a language that digital measures are written in, which has a killer benefit to it as well, and we'll discuss that in a future session. Supplemental data and validation are two examples of important concepts that will remain relevant, but will evolve in very interesting ways.
Okay, so I can see folks saying there already is overlap between some of these areas in DQMs and interoperability. That still seems confusing.
Yes, there's overlap. And yes, I concede that at this point it's still a bit confusing. But we'll see in future sessions just how elegantly most of these actually fit together and how the confusion will very likely resolve.
Okay, so you're saying stay tuned.
Exactly right.
Thank you, Michael, and more to come with the context setting next time, where we will level set on the quality data ecosystem in episode 3, where Monica Cunningham will join us. So please drop a like, comment, and share on LinkedIn, follow Kaiser Healthcare Solutions, and also go ahead and subscribe to our Kaiser Healthcare Solutions YouTube channel. And yes, the glossary of term page will be up shortly on kaisersolutions.com. And we expect that to compete with Webster because there's a ton of abbreviations, acronyms, and terminology that we tend to use in this space. So thank you again for joining us, and we will see you next time.